In this lab, we wanted to find out what happens to energy when hot and cool water are mixed. We needed certain materials in order to figure this out. We used 2 styrofoam cups, one for hot and one for cold water, plus 2 thermometers. Our teacher supplied a hot water source plus a cold water source. For our procedure, we conducted 3 different experiments. In experiment 1, we mixed equal volumes of hot and cold water. In experiment 2, we mixed unequal volumes, more hot water than cold water. And experiment 3, we mixed unequal volumes, more cold water than hot water. We collected our hot water and cold water in our different cups, the appropriate volumes. We found the starting temperature for each one and recorded it in our data table. After we had found the starting temperatures, we mixed the hot and cold water into a single cup. After stirring slightly, we recorded what the final temperature of the mix was. We wanted to see how the final temperatures related to the original starting temperatures for the different volumes. We changed the volumes of hot and cold water and measured the final temperature. We used experiment 1 as our control and kept the cups and the water the same. Before starting, we predicted a range of temperatures that we thought would occur in each experiment. Our data showed that changing the volumes of the hot and cold water did affect the final temperature.
Okay, so in order to find the change in temperature, remember delta meaning change in temperature, we're going to take the final temp, which in this case was 40 degrees, and subtract it from the starting temp, which is 61, which gets us an answer of negative 21 degrees C, which is where we're getting this information here. We subtracted 61 from 40 and got a negative 21, which means a decrease in temperature for that particular experiment.
When we analyzed our data, we discovered that in experiment 1, when the volumes were equal, that the temperature change was equal. But in experiment 2, the cold water had a greater temperature change, and in experiment 3, the hot water had a greater temperature change. In this lab, we wanted to find out what happens to the energy when hot and cool water are mixed. The energy is transferred through conduction or touch. The hot water molecules bump into the cold water molecules and transfer their energy. Temperature tells us how fast the molecules are moving. Hot water molecules are moving fast, and cold water molecules are not moving that fast. In experiment 1, we had a 1-to-1 ratio. We mixed equal volumes of hot and cold water. So one hot molecule was able to transfer its energy to one cold molecule. This caused the hot to slow down and the cold to speed up at the same rate, by about 21 degrees each. Hot things rise, so as the hot water molecules rose up, they bumped into the cold water molecules, transferring their energy. In experiment 2, there was twice as much hot, so there were 2 hot molecules for every cold molecule, meaning more energy was transferred to each one of the cold molecules. So the hot slowed down less, in this case only by about 14 degrees, and the slow molecules sped up a lot by about 28 degrees. In experiment 3, it was the opposite. There was twice as much cold, so there were 2 cold molecules for every hot molecule, meaning that the hot transferred a lot of their energy and the cold was only able to take in a little bit of that energy. So the cold molecules sped up a little bit and the hot molecules slowed way, way down. In the end, the data only supported our hypothesis for experiment 2. We learned that the transfer of energy in this lab was from the hot water molecules to the cold water molecules, and the transformation was from thermal and kinetic energy to thermal and kinetic energy.